Chapter 2, The Facts of Me. My room was a mess. I was supposed to get it all straightened up before dinner or else. Mom's orders. But I wasn't in the mood to clean or scared enough, so I just lay there on my bed thinking, which wasn't unusual. And the thought came very clearly that a messy room was the least of my problems. That was a fact. I've always loved facts. That's because facts don't change. And I think that's why I sometimes hate facts too. I've been discovering facts about myself for a long time. It's like I've been doing experiments for years so I can figure out what makes me, me, the facts of me. Here's one fact I've discovered. I have the opposite of amnesia. I don't think I've ever forgotten anything. I can remember all the way back. I can remember the smell of the soft blue cloth my mom tucked under my chin to catch the drips when I drank baby formula from a bottle. I can remember each red polka dot on the hat of the stuffed clown puppet I slept with in my crib, 12 dots. I can remember the yellow and white diamond pattern on the plastic liner of my playpen and the taste of those biscuits I chewed on before my teeth popped through my gums. I remember all that stuff. And lying there on my bed, I remembered back to when I thought everyone else was just like me. Because that's the way it seemed to me in the beginning. I couldn't tell the difference between myself and everybody else. I thought everyone else was thinking and feeling and seeing the same things I was, but that was not a fact. There. The way I was thinking just there, that's another fact about me. I do that constantly, that kind of analyzing. I've always been like that. Then my mind went racing through its filing system, and I remembered every detail of the day when I first started to see that I was different. It happened because of my big sister, Anne. She was 6 years older, so it was like we lived on different planets. Whenever we got anywhere near each other, Anne's planet usually crushed my planet. It was Saturday morning, right after I had learned how to walk, and Anne dumped a big 500-piece jigsaw puzzle onto the floor in our family living room. The picture on the box showed a scene from a Muppets movie. Anne thought she was this huge puzzle expert, and when I went over to watch, she said, "No, Nora, this isn't a baby puzzle. Get away." I moved back a little, but I kept watching. I've never been scared of Anne. That's because I've always understood her. All Anne has ever wanted is for everybody to beg her to be the queen of the universe. First, Anne turned all the pieces picture side up, and then she picked out all the pieces with the straight edges. Those were the frame pieces because Anne always puts the frame of a puzzle together first. After the frame was done, Anne started looking for a part of Miss Piggy's ear. So I leaned forward and put my pointer finger on a puzzle piece. "Hey!" said Anne, and she pushed my hand away. And then she saw. I had pointed to the piece she was looking for. She picked it up, turned it around, and pushed it into place. Narrowing her eyes at me, Anne said, "Where's the one that goes here?" And she put her finger on a piece at the bottom edge of the frame. So I pointed again, and that piece fit too. "And the next one?" asked Anne. Again I pointed, and again it fit, because it wasn't hard for me. I could see all the pieces at once, and I could see exactly where each of them went. They were right there, plain as day. Then Anne got an idea, and it wasn't a very nice one. Reaching toward a part of the puzzle that was all Kermit green, she put her finger on one piece and said, "What goes here?" I ran my eyes over all those puzzle pieces scattered next to the frame. There must have been 100 that were mostly green. Anne thought I was stumped, but I wasn't. I reached out and picked up one piece and gave it to her. Anne said, "Nice try, Nora. At least you got a green one. Like I said, this is not a baby puzzle. So go away." Then Anne looked at the piece in her hand and the part of the frame she still had her finger on. She turned my piece around once and brought it closer to the frame. It was the right piece. "How did you do that?" asked Anne. Now she was more curious than jealous. But I just looked at all the pieces and picked up another one, and Anne put it in the puzzle, hooking it to the other piece I'd found. Then Anne said, "Here, Nora, you put some pieces in the puzzle. You just have to push each one down like this with your thumb. Start right here." I could feel how Anne was watching me. She had never looked at me that way before. I didn't know I was doing anything unusual because for me the puzzle was so easy. I didn't have to look and try out 10 pieces to find a right one. I could just see the next piece. I didn't have to slow down, and I didn't make any mistakes. Anne ran and got Mom. Then I felt 2 pairs of eyes staring at me, so I stopped. "Go on, keep doing the puzzle, Nora," said Anne. "Show Mommy. Find the pieces for right there." Then Mom said, "Go on, honey. Help Anne do the puzzle. Go on." It felt like they were pushing me with their eyes. They wanted a performance, but I was just being me, so I did nothing. Anne said, "Come on, Nora. Just one piece, come on." And she grabbed my hand and she pulled it toward the unmatched pieces. I yelled, "No!" and I yanked my hand away. That was it for me. Puzzle playtime was over. But later, when I was supposed to be taking a nap, I climbed out of my crib and crawled backward down the stairs. I went into the family room and I sat down on the floor and I put the whole puzzle together. I took a long look at Miss Piggy and Kermit and Fozzie Bear and Animal, and then I took the puzzle apart and left everything just the way it had been, and then I took my nap. That day, I learned some important facts about me. I learned that what seemed normal to me seems strange to other people. I also learned that I didn't like to perform and that I hated to be pushed around. For a week or so after that, I could tell my mom and Ann kept watching me, and my dad and my big brother too. They were all watching to see if I would do anything else that was smart or clever. So I was careful, which might seem weird, but it was a fact. If my mom or dad or Ann or my big brother or any of the kids at daycare started looking at me funny, I would stop whatever I was doing. I didn't want to be stared at, so I was careful. And a few months later, when I figured out how to read, I was careful about that too. Reading was amazing and wonderful and exciting, but I didn't tell anybody, and there were reasons. My brother's name is Todd, and he's 3 years older than I am. There, in between me and Ann. When I first started reading, Todd was in kindergarten, and he didn't know how to read at all. So I figured that if little baby Nora let anyone see she could read, it would be a big deal. And I thought it might also make Todd feel bad or mad at me or both. Plus, I didn't want my mom and dad to make me read my own stories at bedtime, so I kept the fact of my reading a secret. I was still lying on my bed thinking, and then I remembered my report card. The D's on my first report card of 5th grade. Those D's had become a fact. It had been nice to forget about them for a few minutes, but forgetting about a fact does not make the fact go away. And I knew that pretty soon my mom was going to yell that it was dinner time. I got up off my bed, walked over to my desk, grabbed my report card, and licked the flap of the envelope. Ugh, the glue tasted terrible. I waited a second and then pressed the flap shut. Now the report card was hidden away, sealed inside its ugly brown recycled paper envelope, and I even flattened out the little tabs of the brass fastener. Then I instantly analyzed what I'd done, and I knew why I'd sealed the envelope. Those D's were like a time bomb. Tick, 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 boom. The explosion was inevitable. I was putting it off until the last possible second. I had thought about getting those D's for a long time. I felt pretty sure that my plan made sense, but still, my mom and dad had always been crazy about grades, and I had to face the fact those D's were going to have to be explained. But not the part about Stephen, about how those D's were related to him. The part about Stephen wouldn't have to be explained until much later, maybe never.